My name is Roberta Martinez, and I'm the playwright of Arroyo. Eric Rodriguez asks, the set is obviously extravagant, which begs the question, is this piece of theater intended to be longer than 10 minutes, or if so, how long? Is your story based on a true event? Well, my answer to that is I think of the set as being detailed rather than extravagant as far as it's written in the script. And I think giving actors more details of place, especially when it's a period piece, can help them develop a character that's truer to the time in which the play is set. The basic ideas of isolation and independence and desperation can work well whether the set is a minimalist set or a very extravagant set. It is set to be about 10 minutes long, and I think we're used to being in an era where so many of us are used to Harry Potter, Mandalorian, Doctor Who, The Avengers, all of which are wonderful, but so is The Lottery by Shirley Jackson, which is much, much shorter and in many ways very unresolved. I like the idea that there isn't an easy resolution. I like the audience to wonder what happens next. In a way, it's more like life rather than a programmed piece. The viewer, through their lived experience, maybe even their hopes, will define what they think might happen next. And yes, it's based on a true story. It is one of our family stories, parts of it anyway. The chip plate, the locked up wife, the philandering husband who was killed are all part of our family stories. Eric Silva asks, what are the reasons for choosing this time period? As writers, we're told we're supposed to write what we know and what we like. I'm a historian, a keeper of family stories, and I find these family stories fascinating. I also love the work of writers like August Wilson, Rodolfo Anaya, and Estela Portillo Tremblay, who've explored and shared history via theater and through prose. And I think the exploration of different time and different times in their mores intrigues me. I believe the past informs the present, and I think that we don't have a lot of stories that are well known or shared during the teens, the 20s, and the 30s for people who were living here in the States. We may know something about their experiences, but not individual experiences. Isabel Garcia asks, how does this incident impact the town of El Arroyo? Does the next generation learn from Julita's experience? My sad response is it has probably no impact on the town except for being another point of gossip. The chismosas and the chismosos will be running around talking about this. Unfortunately, this kind of behavior keeps being repeated. Members of the family may change, but this whole idea of an abusive relationship with one person expressing dominant behavior, and the push against that either by submission or pushing against that continues. I mean, it's something that is just kind of part of what seems to exist for us as humans. The question that I'm wondering is, I'm wondering what happens out of the relationship with Julita and Leticia. Is this an event that distills or dilutes Julita's strength? I don't know. It's another story. Eric Estrada asks, your play represents a woman trapped in a brutal relationship, but she also fights back, albeit in little ways. Had the play not ended as it does, would those small rebellions have been enough for her? I think the answer quite simply is no. Something would have happened. In the play, I'm not sure if Julita goes a little mad, if she goes to live with her family that lives in another town, or if Leticia helps her become a stronger person, helps her find her own strength, and Julita stays single. I don't know. But it would not have been enough. There was too much that came to a head there for things to continue as they were. Andrew Cervantes asks, what is the significance of the Morning Dove Call? Well, the Morning Dove Call is haunting and sad to me. It's the call that's making a call, and it's waiting for an answer that may or may not come. It's a call that's identified with love sickness and unrequited love, cucurucucu paloma is said to mimic the morning dove's call. This all made sense to me. The call made sense to me at the death of Julita's old life and at the dawn of her new life. Moises Rodriguez asks, I'm curious about how you visualize a stage production being different from a filmed version. What most stands out to you as the pros and cons of each approach? Well, I think of the stage version as being more operatic, bigger than live, and film as being much, much more intimate in many ways, intimate to each character. On film, we can see the subtle reaction on Leticia's face as Julita is explaining what's her normal situation, or the vulnerability that we can see in Humberto's face as he realizes he's no longer in charge and that his dream is slipping away with each pulsing of his heart and every drop of blood that he feels in his side. With a stage production, there are elements of surprise that can be immediate and allow the audience to feel as if they are just beyond the fourth wall or almost within that third wall somehow. They're privy to all of the physical interactions and the complexity of the body language that's experienced almost without realizing. Julita's being locked in the house with all the other characters having access in and out of the house can take place on stage, and the audience can see and feel what's taking place almost without realizing that these folks are coming and going and Julita is stuck in one place. The proximity of Julita and Humberto as he's dying is made that much more excruciating when it's on stage because there's just a narrow space between them. The physical abruptness of Leticia running on stage and Julita sitting in the dark, who has a light shine on her and then speaks at the very end of the play, is a bit of a shock when you see both her and her bloodied bundle. So I think both of them are wonderful, and I think it is a little bit of bigger than life versus into one's life and one's maybe even thought process. I hope you enjoy El Arroyo.